I think I just now hit the record button,
Oops.
and we had a beautiful 5 or 10 minute warm up for our time together, which I'm very happy about. So, luckily now we are recording. Can you tell me, how did we first meet? Because usually when I have people on our discussions, they're usually actually individuals who were once incarcerated, and they call me and they say, Coach, I'm out. Gogi works. It's working great. And I say, let's hop on a Zoom. So when individuals who watch those interviews see you, they're going to say, was she a prisoner? How did we meet? Just to set the foundation of how on earth did you become Gogi?
I know, a bit random actually. So we met at a wellness center because we were both invited to speak. And I remember listening to your story and I was absolutely blown away because like you don't look like the person who does your job. Does that make sense? You're so glamorous and beautiful and from the outside amazing. But then listening to you speak, I was just like, my God, this woman's so powerful. And what she's done with the prisons in America, I was just blown away by your story and blown away of your story of your big heart, actually. It was that. And so after I gave my little talk as well, we started chatting and I invited you to experience an inner dance session with me at the wellness center. So I remember there was a big group of people. You were there, and actually, I was looking at you. You weren't in process that much. I kept you had like one eye open, which is not like in a dance usually. And I was just like, is she really getting this or is she not? Anyway, afterwards, you kind of winked at me, and then you invited me. You said, would I like to come to the States and introduce it to the prisons there? And at the time, I wasn't quite ready. And it's funny in hindsight, isn't it? Because the music also wasn't, the playlists weren't ready at that time when you asked me, and they're ready now. So I needed the 2 years from the first time you asked me to meet Caroline also, and then be brave enough to come to the States and face the unknown. And I don't know, I was just so, I think my heart was cracked open meeting everyone, and
What
what I
was
saw.
that first prison visit like? So I invite you, you say no. I invite you, you say no. I invite you, you say no. Finally, I invite you, and you said, "Well, yes." And there's this other individual that is in the UK, Scotland, and she's actually going into prisons. And I said, "Bring her along." What was it like when you went into that prison, and what were the fears related to prison, males, securities, guards? What was
Okay.
going on in your mind?
A lot, and a lot was going on in my body, to be honest. When
Oh,
you
your
very
body
first,
was, you were
yeah,
feeling.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
I've one of the things again I've learned as a therapist is listen to my body, not necessarily my mind, my body, and my heart. So if I get a gut reaction to something, of course I'll listen to that. So when you very first asked me 2 years ago, I was scared. It was just like I had my own issues with uh, violent, angry men that I had to deal with myself and look within myself and see if I was ready enough with the preconceived ideas from, of course, TV shows about prisons, what it was going to be like. And that was my only reference point. So I had the little girl inside of me who was very scared, but then I had the therapist part of me, the adult part of me, that was like, you can do this. And coach wouldn't ask you if she didn't believe in you and she didn't think that you did have the ability to do it. So that's where my head was at before I came into the jail and the prison for the first time. But actually, when we did go to both of those, it was when I heard the stories. It's when I spoke to the men, and they were so articulate and clever. And we're talking about quantum physics. We're talking about, and I remember saying to one guy, I said, "You should be sitting here because you know more about this stuff than I do." And just hearing of, I don't know, how they want to make the world a better place, how they want to be better themselves. It made me realize that the judgment that I had was so wrong. Again, it was all my preconceived ideas. And when I met these men, it was like talking to young boys who never received love. And I just thought, gosh, if I could just help them be seen and heard and loved, maybe that's what I'm here for. Maybe that's my job. Maybe that's what I'm born for. So again, I have so much gratitude for you for opening up this opportunity for me.
So the fear was, I've had experience with angry, violent men.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of grieving to do, and here I am in a prison with men who have been violent, many of whom have been angry, and maybe this is the work I'm supposed to do? Is that came into your mind?
It did. I never thought that this would be my life path, in all honesty, because then there's the other side. I was just like, how can they relate to me and how can I relate to them? Because I haven't been, thankfully, I haven't been in prison before. But then again, once I met them, I thought, there for the grace of God, that could be me. If I grew up in that environment, I could have done the same things as you. So who am I to judge? And it really put me in my place, actually. I'm just like, judgments are so wrong. Might as well just point the finger at me, judge myself.
So we spoke with the men, and then we did a sound healing. We don't want to call it really sound healing. We did a
Healing
process,
with healing with frequencies. How's
healing
that?
with frequency. Yes, because
Yogi
that's
Radio.
yes, it is GOGI Radio. It is very much integrating the GOGI Life Tools into the body, not just the mind. And oftentimes the GOGI Life Tools get into the hearts of our students, but not just the mind and the hearts, but
Mhm.
on a cellular level, the every cell of the body, which is partly belly breathing, every cell of your body expands and contracts with every breath. That talk to me about what that was like when you offered inner dance to me and I experienced it and I said, "Oh my God, I've got to take it home. I got 23,000 students ready for this. We've got to get we've got to bring it in." So I knew because I had experienced healing with frequency, I knew that it was a route that I wanted to expand the organization.
Mhm.
You come in to an existing GOGI leadership meeting, and all of the men agree to lay down on the floor with their heads facing all in the same direction, and then the music starts. Walk me through that process.
So the process was first, I was very surprised. And actually, because they love and respect you so much, I understand why they lay down with such trust. But when they were lying down, I just thought it must be very hard for them to do that, in that environment. Because how many times have they been able to trust people in the past? So I was very humbled by their trust to start with. And then a few looked a bit nervous. So I got my drum out and I started beating the heartbeat. Because I thought that would ground them, that would help them feel safe, just hearing the heartbeat. So I did that for about 7 minutes, and I noticed when I was walking around drumming on the heartbeat on my drum that people seemed to relax. The guy seemed to kind of slip into the process more and more. Um, and then what did I experience? I just over the half an hour when we were working, I just saw their bodies relax, and I saw smiles go on their faces, and I saw that they were like on a journey, an internal journey, which was so beautiful to watch and encounter. So, and it was also working in a different way for me because I work with my hands. I'm very hands-on when I work. So going into the prison, I couldn't bring my stuff with me. I couldn't touch the men. So I worked in a very different way, which I was a little concerned about to start with. But then once I was there, I realized actually it works perfectly. You don't really need to physically touch anyone to be able to do this job, to do this work. So,
Mhm.
and I think exactly with the frequencies and the way that the sounds are layered over them and the words are laid over them, it's works really well sandwiched with the Gogi tools.
Mhm.
Because cognitively in their minds they understand the tools, but with the healing with frequencies it embeds it in the body. And as you know, trauma is stored in the body, it's stored in a cellular level. So when they got to the place of surrender and just like trust, they could literally the trauma comes out the body. You have this release, this cathartic release. So that's why they work so well together, both of the Gogi tools and healing with frequencies.
And I think you also hold a good space for individuals. And I'll give an example. Getting you and Caroline over here, orchestrating all of the prison visits and the clearances and the hotels and the travel, it's a lot. Plus, we like to make sure our students know that we're coming. So everyone, 300 or more, probably more, students have to get a personal invitation to show up in these places that we're going to be going. So, and it's not an easy task for me to be kind of taking at the helm of making certain all that goes on because there's every other aspect of Gogi. There's hundreds of letters coming in every week to manage. So I was at a threshold of my ability to be calm and relaxed. And we had a meeting about the coordination of our space. Much like a prisoner, I came into that meeting with a lot of um, thoughts, energy, stomach
Yes.
churning. Oh my gosh, I've got a lot I got to take care of. I got to get this meeting over with because I've got 1,500 letters that need to be answered. But what you did was you held the space. You were just present, held the space. I noticed even in the meetings, there were a couple of times where you might have just closed your eyes and did the heartbeat in what felt like in my mind. You brought to the space that heartbeat that allowed me to say, okay, there's no mountain I can't climb. There's no storm that doesn't pass. There's no obstacles that don't resolve themselves or I resolve them. And it's going to be okay. So you held the space, which allowed that meeting to be far more harmonious. Is that something that other people can do? Can other people hold space for the best to emerge?
Oh, lovely, 100%. And I really saw that with the guys I met in Calipatria State Prison. I really saw them hold the space. And that's another thing that I was just like, wow, these guys are incredible. They're like therapists. I mean, and you have this gift as well. You help everybody be seen, and you're curious about each person, and they did as well. You know, they made sure that no one was left out in the group. Everybody had something to say. And I love the way they were encouraging each other, you know, with a little tap on the back, like, you know, you got this. And they're already there, lovely. And I think again, it's through the tools, you know, it's through the a belly breathing, it's having that awareness and just like, you know, sitting still. And if you are triggered, breathe through it. You know, you
So
got
let's
this.
say I'm a
Yeah,
woman, I'm in prison, I'm in an 8 foot cell, 2 inch mattress, I have my tablet, I'm listening to this. Or I'm
yes.
a man and maybe I'm in SHU or the jail within the prison for
Yeah.
having a cell phone or hitting someone or something. I've done something and it all hope seems to be lost.
Mm.
What are the first steps of actually holding space for possibility, trusting, or having a vision for something more than what is right up against your face? How do I, as a woman sitting on a 2 inch mattress, how do I make that leap into this world that is not mine, but it sure looks good?
Mm. One thing to know is that you're not alone, right? And as much as you feel alone in this cell, you're not, because everybody's going to be studying with you. So even if they're not physically with you, they're there in spirit. You know, they're there because they're studying along with the Gogi tools with you. And for me, the
What you're
times that
saying is the Gogi Life Tools, when you study them,
yes,
there is a community that's also studying them, even if it's nowhere near you.
100% because of the Gogi calendar. So everybody's studying the same tool at the same time. That's super important to know that you're not alone, that there are other people studying along with you. And in the time with being in the cell, there are times in my life that I felt imprisoned in my mind and various situations that I've been in my life and I just go within. So again, with using the life tools, it's you close your eyes and you connect with your breath, and then maybe think of a time where you were truly happy, or think of a place that you felt really safe in, and then breathe that in and use all of your senses to get back to that space again. And just know that nothing is forever. All we have in life are moments. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but they all pass and they all transmute. So it's about holding on, even if you're in a bad place, holding on, knowing this isn't going to be forever. There's going to be a good point around the corner too. So it's having that faith and knowing that you're not alone. I think if I was in that situation, that would help me a lot.
Hmm. So you yourself have felt as if you were in a prison. Uh-huh.
Yeah, many times.
And for you, you were able to hold space for yourself. to see beyond the pain? Or is that
No, not at the time.
not at the time?
No, not at the time. This is years ago. This is in my 20s. I was like really, I was with a car crash in my 20s. I had so much trauma and so many undealt with things. I couldn't do that for myself, coach. And there were many times I just felt hopeless and lying on my bed thinking, what's the point in me? Why am I here? What have I got to offer? But it's just over time and after working it myself and actually unpacking that I do have stuff to offer. I do have wisdom. I can help others. And it's by almost now that I'm a therapist, it's by giving back and helping others that I feel free. I'm not imprisoned and lying on my bed thinking I have nothing to offer. That gives me freedom.
Beautiful, beautiful. What do you like about the GOGI Life Tools? Because
Because this,
you magically integrated them into this vibration that you're now offering. Even if it's a non-GOGI student, you're bringing in the
yeah.
vibration of the GOGI Life Tools to non-prisoners, to individuals that you are working with vibrational therapy and trauma release. What do you like so much about them?
Lovely. I actually use them. I use them with my clients, like not in prison. I literally I'm teaching them about all of the tools. I like them because they're so simple and they're
Mm.
easy to remember. And when I've just finished my coursework, by the way, finally
Which
got to
course
the end
did
of
you
it.
do?
I did the addiction one,
You
and
did.
yes, I did. I literally finished it
Do
yesterday,
you have it
coach.
with you? Do you have it
Uh,
nearby?
yes, two
Can you
secs.
show us?
Yeah, so it's this one.
Okay, so I gave you that, and what was what? Why did I invite you to participate in that course?
Oh, because you wanted me to learn about it firsthand and you wanted me to have proper experience. So when I go back into prison, I can say, I've done this book and this is what. And you know what? It's really good because I didn't know the tools that well prior to doing this. And because it's repetitive and because of the stories that you learn through the coursework, it sticks. If I was just to read the thing once, they wouldn't stick. It's because I've kind of gone over them multiple times. And I've also looked at your YouTube where you're talking about your little book.
The
I've
mini
listened to that.
book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've listened to that like 3 times now.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, because again, it's the repetitiveness of it that finally sinks in. But no, I think this was great. I need to do some more when I get out there as well, if I have time,
Sure,
because I
but
know
in
you're going to
back
keep
of
me
me,
very busy.
yes, we will be. But in back of me, are you have your choice. You could do why gang when you can gogi. You could do
Okay.
parenting, anger management, criminal thinking, victim impact. There's a whole slew of courses that you're going to be able to do. Now, mostly those courses are funded by grants or institutions buy them for their population, or families and friends buy them because they're available on like Amazon or whatever. But just when we have so many people doing Gogi on tablets and so many of them don't have access to the courses that I was able to challenge you to complete, there's so many other free resources. In fact, your video of your little
Oh
introduction video
yeah.
of, yes, that's going to be on the tablets and it'll be across the United States. So people will be able to see you, see your work, see the interview that we did with you at Calipatria. And they're also going to be able to listen to the mini book reading that I did, just
Beautiful.
like you did.
I love that. Yeah, I think
A
they'll
lot
enjoy
a
that.
lot of students say, "Oh, coach, it's so repetitive. It's so repetitive." And I say, "Yep,
Yeah.
by design." Why do you think it's good to have that repetition in the learning of the tools?
Ah, because if you repeat something enough, it helps your brain remember. It rewires your brain so that you got to repeat things so they stick. So,
Yeah.
like I said, if I just went through the tools one time, which I had when before I got to America, I couldn't. When I was actually in prison, I couldn't remember them very well. It's only now that it's like I've been listening to you on my radio, driving my car. I've been reading about it as well, that it's actually finally stuck.
Mm.
So it takes, what is it, about a month to reprogram the brain.
Yeah,
Is
21 to 28
21 days.
days. Yeah, even if your
Yeah.
brain is fried, it's still about 28 days
Yeah.
before a neural connection actually touches. And then it feels good. It's kind of like, oh, wow, that's a new thought. That's a new idea. That's a new piece of wisdom. So about a month.
Yeah. And then a habit will form and you'll always
Yeah.
remember it. And that'll be your new habit. That's why you can replace addictions and stuff with good habits like learning the tools.
Yeah,
And you do it enough, you reprogram your mind, which is perfect.
I
It's
love
what we
it.
want.
So we have you getting on a plane. You're coming out here.
All my bags, I don't pack light.
I know, but when we're on the road, there's going to be a lot of us in a car, so you're going to be relegated to like a duffel bag. And
No, coach,
yes,
no. How am I going to manage?
well, I don't know. It's either that or we have to walk alongside the car. There's going to be so many of us, and we're going to go from hotel to hotel. Actually, there are motels to motels, and from prison yard to prison yard. And in the motels where we stay, we're going to have to rinse out our clothes every night because it's summer. In one place, it's gotten up to 120 degrees. You can literally fry an egg on the pavement at Calipatria and Ironwood State Prison. It's going to be just, they say, hotter than hell, and they really do mean it. So it's going to be quite a challenge for all of us. But what do you hope for as the outcome when you return back home 4 months later? What are you bringing back to the UK with you?
A huge amount of data that we're going to be collecting over the next 4 months.
In surveys that we ask our
Surveys
students,
that
blue
exactly.
light, sound, vibration, what did it? So, okay.
Yeah, so an awful lot of data. I will have more experience because I would have met an awful lot of men by that stage and talked about the tools a lot. So I would glean, I'd have more wisdom, and I think they're going to teach me as much as I teach them, funnily enough. I have this little feeling actually, because I felt that when I last went in there. And then with all the data that we've collected and the manuals that we're going to be writing to train other facilitators to do what we do, I'm going to come back to England and I'm going to try to do it in the prison system in England. So that's my big goal in this. So I'm going to come back with all of this information, with videos, with everything, and then try to get it in the prison system here.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a stretch because I do know the prison system in the UK is not healthy, nor are the people happy about it. The officers aren't happy, the prisoners aren't happy, community's not happy, and I do think they are looking for something.
Mm,
And I do believe that by igniting within the cell of an individual the power they have to make positive decisions, I think it's an easy win. So I see clearly in my mind. And then maybe, who knows, you might invite me over and I can get to go see your world of Gogi and the inner Gogi dance world at the UK.
I would love that, coach. You know I would. That would be amazing.
Okay, so what time is your flight and how long is your flight?
Ah, 2 o'clock in the afternoon and 11 hours. So
11
it's,
hours.
yeah, and then
And
9 hours time difference. So the jet lag's going to be like,
yes, yes, yes.
oh, it's lucky we got is it a day's downtime, or is it 2 days before we start
I
running?
think you're going to get a full 48 hours before your first
Oh,
workshop.
48 hours, lucky me. And then it's going to be full on for 4 months, no
Yes,
breaks. I
yes.
am
Our first
prepared.
stop
Looking
is
forward to
Los
it.
Angeles County jail.
Mhm.
We're going to visit the women. They are
Mhm.
actively doing Gogi. They absolutely love it. It's
Mhm.
a mental health module. So these are women who have diagnoses beyond a criminal action. So we will
Right.
do that. Then we're off to Salinas Valley State Prison in California and Central Training Facility, both of which are up in Soledad. Then we get a little reprieve, a lot of driving, and then we're going to be at Ironwood State Prison and then Calipatria State Prison. And we're back at Los Angeles County Jail to see the women again. So we've got a lot going on, and we're going to be filming in a couple of those spaces. So I think our audiences are going to get to see a lot of you beating the drum and holding the heart space for individuals who get to participate in inner Gogi dance.
I can't wait. I'm
I'm
really
so
looking forward to it.
excited to have you here. You are the walking emanation of a heartbeat, and you're certainly going to be adding so much depth and wisdom and love to our summer, and I'm very
Oh,
grateful.
thank you, coach. I adore you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in a few days.
Yes, is there any butterflies? It's excitement, though, right? Is there any last message you want to give to the many, many people? across the United States and eventually other places who might stumble across this interview and watch it? Is there any message that you would like to leave with that person that has watched this to the end and might have some feelings or thoughts?
Mm. Yeah, I think a lot of people are scared to do something like healing with frequencies and things because people like to feel as if they're in control,
Uh,
right? Um, I would say give it a try. What have you got to lose, right? And you're always in control. You'll always be in control in the process. And you wouldn't have invited me if it didn't work. So the fact that because Gogi's worked so powerfully and so well, is it 25 years now? Is it
yes,
that? Yeah.
yes.
If you didn't believe in it, you wouldn't have invited me. And yeah, give it a chance, give it a go, because what have you got to lose? And because the feedback that we got when we were working from the prisoners is quite extraordinary, really, really extraordinary. From, it's the first time I've really felt free, internal freedom, and I visited my child who was born in my arms. I realized what love was. Sometimes if you take a risk and do new things, there's a gift in it. So
I
give it
love
a
that.
go.
And through the use of the GOGI tools, our students always can maintain control. And at
Oh,
any point, you just turn off the tablet. If you don't like how you're feeling, you just turn the channel to the 5 second light switch, just get to another action. So I applaud you for your bravery, and I applaud our audience who was brave enough to watch, and even further, to integrate some of the tools so that they can be brave themselves. All right, dear. I'm going to see you soon. I'm so excited.
I know, me too. Lovely to see you, Coach.
Bye, dear.
GOGI, GOGI. First tool is boss of my brain. Smart, emotional, and the old habit thing. Belly breathing, it put me to the test. Put my hand on my stomach, another on my chest. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, smart thoughts make you rich. So I stepped up my game with the 5 second light switch. GOGI, GOGI. Learn GOGI tools, real lessons to live by. GOGI, GOGI. Learn tools of choice and lessons to live by. A tools of choice that cover the 3 P's. Positive thoughts is the first of these. A positive words and then positive actions. Powerful, productive, positive reactions. GOGI, GOGI. We learn GOGI tools, real lessons to live by. GOGI, GOGI. Learn tools before and lessons to live by. I'm moving forward and claiming responsibility. I own today and yes, I'm proud of me. I let it go with hands on my toes, with a quick belly breathe. My brain is the boss. Teaching me.